Good morning, everybody. I'm sleepy, but besides that, I'm also playing Warcraft 2. So for those of you who haven't played this game before, it's the second game in the Warcraft series, unsurprisingly. Released in 1995, it was a direct sequel to the previous game. A backstory for me was that I never played the first game. This game was released a year after I was born, but I didn't play it until somewhere around 2000s. But despite that, it came to be one of my favorite games during my childhood, on account on both the visuals of it being quite a cartoony, medieval fantasy kind of game, but besides that, the music was also phenomenal for its time, and I think it still holds up, kind of. So I have not played this game since I was perhaps 13, but since then I've played through Warcraft 3, I played World of Warcraft up until Mists of Pandaria, then went back a little during the Draenor game. But besides that, I haven't really gone in depth with the story for quite a while. Now, as I understand it, a lot of the game story has been retconned later, so some of this might not be actual in World of Warcraft as it is. Shadowlands just released a couple of days ago, which is kind of what brought me back, watching the trailer and seeing some of the footage for the videos, the ones about Jaina Proudmoore, for example. It had a lot of old music from Warcraft 2, and it just put me in the vibe to play this. So, as with many of the other Blizzard RTSs, it has several different campaigns. Now, Warcraft 2 is separated into two campaigns, one for the orcs, which also includes the trolls, as well as the humans and the blood elves, or as they were known at that point, the high elves. The first version to be released was Warcraft 2 The Tides of Darkness, but it also got an expansion eventually, being Beyond the Dark Portal, which is after Medivh opened up the Dark Portal and let the orcs get back home to Draenor. So we will be going through this just top down. So I will start the orc campaign, and we will listen to the introduction and play through the first missions, which are not very hard. It's pretty much trying to build a base. But let's go.
The Horde is preparing to launch an assault against the mainland of Lordaeron. Orgrim Doomhammer, war chief of the Orcish Hordes and ruler of the Blackrock clan, has ordered you to establish a small outpost on Lordaeron's southern shores. To secure the Zul'Dare region as Doomhammer demands, you will need to construct a barracks and several farms to feed your troops. Your success may help us determine the extent of the pathetic human defenses and what resistance they can offer against our forces.
Yes, so our first mission is a pretty simple one, as you can see. We need to build 4 farms and build a barracks, and if memory serves me right, then there are basically no enemies on this map. So we will start, of course, with putting the peons into the mine, because gold is everything. And here we have our standard building, the Great Hall. As you see, it's a bit festively decorated, as well as the pig farms. Warcraft 3 they had burrows, and it's pretty much the same thing as pylons in StarCraft or the supply depots. They only serve the purpose of giving you additional supplies. So, as you can see, they have 3 different kinds of resources in this game. They have both the gold, the lumber, as well as oil, which might seem a bit weird, but they actually introduced naval combat into this game, which requires oil. So we will start this, since what we need to do is we need to build farms and burrows. we'll make sure that this first one gets going on building a farm. I don't think we'll need any more grunts, as they're called, the basic units, since this map doesn't contain all that much. Now, some of this game will be a bit hard for me to adapt to, because the pathfinding is not too great, as well as the controls for it is a bit iffy, but we will do our very best. So, let's see here, P for peon. Yeah, we need more farms. Things build quite slowly. It's a bit of a slower paced RTS if you played a lot of StarCraft 2 or StarCraft Brood War at fastest. It will not really be that. It will be a bit of a slower burn. Some of the later stages might get a bit hectic, but generally it won't be that bad. So we can see here the main unit of our army is the grunts. And these guys, they're slightly tanky, not too great at the damage, not too fantastic at anything really, but they're quite a good unit to put at the front to soak the brunt of most of the damage. And they're also incredibly funny looking. They look a bit goofish. Not as goofish as the peons, of course. These guys, yeah, you can see that they are not the happiest guys. So, as they said in the beginning of this mission, or scenarios they're called here, we were sent here by Orgrim Doomhammer, which if you played World of Warcraft, you would know the capital of the Orcish city of the Horde is called Orgrimmar, which is named after Orgrim Doomhammer, who is the war chief during the time of this game, or at least the beginning of it. I haven't played this for a long time, so I can't really say that I remember all too much about the story, but we will find out in due time. So yeah, I believe I've cleared out the entire map, as you can see. So yeah, this first mission will be very basic, and I expect it to ramp up a bit, but perhaps not an incredible amount. So, they said that this was based in Suldare, which I did not play through during my stint into World of Warcraft. But Sul is what they name most of the Orcish or the Trollish cities. So I'm guessing we're near some form of troll land. So we will need a little bit more lumber before we can actually get to working our barracks. So we have these pig farms and the Great Hall. But one of my favorite things is just the voice lines of the orcs. They are so cute. Just so full of charm. So you can see a lot of the more old school Blizzard vibes and their humor in this game. Now, previous to the Warcraft games, they had actually done a few different games. If you played it, Rock and Roll Racing, I believe, was one of their first games, as well as the Lost Vikings. Rock and Roll Racing, I didn't really play that much, but Lost Vikings was one of those really, really tough SNES games that I played back in the day, where you play as, what are their names? Olaf, Balog, and Eric, I believe, where you would run around the map solving puzzles and things like that. So we'll go here and build our barracks. And if you played World of Warcraft during the older period, I'm not sure if they're still there. The 3 lost dwarves, or the 3 lost Vikings, were actually located inside of not Maraudon, it's called Uldaman, the instance that's a buried dwarven city inside of the Badlands, where you find these 3 Vikings in one of the dwarven expeditions. You could get Eric's helmet, I believe, which would let you rush down the enemies. Yeah. Besides that, one of the earlier game as well was a quite unknown one, which is called Blackhawk or Blackthorn in Europe, and where you play as a guy who is stuck inside some mines trying to rescue humans from the orcs, and those were actually the classic style orcs, as you can see in the Warcraft games, interestingly enough. So I'm not sure if I don't believe it came before Warcraft 1, but it's kind of interesting to see that they used the same kind of characters between these different games. So here we got our first finished scenario. So let's go here. Victory. We were a slave. Not the best, but you know, to me the score doesn't really matter. It's an indication of how good you are, but I'm not really sure what else we could have done better at this point. But yeah, so we will put an end to this right here. See you next time. Good night and sleep tight.